If you got a question or a story to tell, from the smallest town to the big city belle, got a business dream finna start, or a question on elections and how to do your part. Now Bryan's here and he's ready to listen to the good people of Arkansas. The mission, he served the nation, now he's serving you for a stronger future and a vision that's new. Welcome to the Ready Room. Got a question? Let's talk it through. Welcome to the Ready Room, where your voice is heard and the people rule. The political machine often ignores what you say, but Bryan believes in a different.
Hey, sorry about that. Hey, we're learning as we go here. All right, just work with us as we work it. Iron sharpens iron. We'll get better every time. If you haven't noticed, I'm accompanied by my beautiful bride, Bryan Norris, tonight. Going to discuss some things about our life, about what led us here, things that we do, and gonna brag on her a little bit, just because. Well, look at her. Why wouldn't I?
Oh my gosh.
But before we get into that, before I give her a proper introduction, I've only got one question that was asked throughout the week, and it comes from Dave Holland last night in Hot Springs, who gave it. It was a fantastic question. It was something I never thought of. He's a small business owner, and he's concerned about being able to give his employees decent health care, which is an important thing. Having kids have accidents. You can have an accident. You definitely want to be covered appropriately. And good business owners want to do right by their employees and give them that benefit. But, as things happen, government gets in the way sometimes and elevates prices through regulation, through red tape. And large corporation insurance companies come in and eat up all the smaller ones and bucket everybody up and try to make everybody the same. And we're not all the same. We're all uniquely different. We all don't need, all the different medical coverages that they offer, or pigeonhole you in or group you in and all that stuff. And you can't really pick it. You just kind of have to go with what they give you and hope for the best. But the important thing is to be covered. And so his question was, as a small business owner, I don't have the 50 employee threshold to get some of those federal government benefits. So is there something that the Secretary of State's office could do to help that? And I thought it was a really good question. It's something that I hadn't thought about. And I said, well, in all honesty, I've not thought about that before, but I'll research it. I'll find out what I can, and I'll get back to you. And there were some interesting things that I learned when I was reading through and finding more information about this. And so there is something called the shop marketplace. However, that's only available if you have 50 employees or more. So this isn't gonna suit him at all. However, there is health reimbursement arrangements. They're called HRAs. And these are specifically for individuals with 50 employees or less. And so you can use what's called a qualified small employer HRA. And it will reimburse employees for individual insurance premiums on tax advantage bases. So that could alleviate some of the financial pain of paying these high insurance premiums when you have just a few employees. There is also some cost-saving alternatives. Direct primary care which is becoming a big thing. We've also read into that a lot, and we honestly pay for some stuff out of pocket to go to some of these direct care providers just because we want to know BS result. We don't want them to give the recommendation of the pharmaceutical companies because that's going to drive up their profit margins. We want to find out what's going to get to the root cause and solve the issues that's with us. And I know you've gone to several.
We've done the tooth pillow for Tippy.
Yep.
So that was probably the best thing we've done.
Yep.
Out-of-pocket care. It is not cheap, but it's a device for a child 3 to 12 that it helps widen their jaw, straighten their teeth. It's an alternative to braces, which is something we were looking for. And our youngest has always had airway issues and she'll snore. So that was the main reason we got it, to stop that.
How many things did you try before we got
Everything.
that? But give a number.
Oh my gosh. 10?
And how many days or weeks was it before you saw an improvement with that?
The first night. No
Wasn't
snoring.
it crazy?
Yeah, no snoring, and it's straightening her teeth like
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I have no affiliation with them. We just love the product.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty amazing to see how her jaw structure realigning, her teeth started fitting better, and we've noticed a difference in her during the day. She's not as tired.
Yeah.
She's actually sleeping in more, where just a month ago she was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5:30, just because she wasn't sleeping well.
Yep.
And so
she'd wake up from her snoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quantifiable results. So you got that as an option for direct care memberships and health sharing programs. That one I thought was very interesting. That's something that Dave Ramsey does. He does a health sharing program. So he has multiple groups that are affiliated with him, and all of those collectively join in together to get a reduced rate, right? Because the more people you have, the more bargaining power you have in the marketplace. So that, I wouldn't have any legislative authority on anything like that, but I could have influence. So I could find some state reps, state senators, and be like, hey, why don't we see about getting some legislation forward that really drives and pushes small businesses of an area, of a like field, or statewide, or a group, and create an association to where they can have better bargaining power to help bring down their cost premiums and get a better result for their employer. So that's definitely something I would advocate for and would do. And David, I'd love to work with you on that after we get in and make that happen, because I think that would be extremely beneficial for not just the employers but the employees across the state and their families. So again, that would, you basically have the health reimbursement arrangements through the qualified small employer HRAs, and you have the health savings accounts, and you have the direct primary care, and then we can work together to go through some create some associations to create groups and associations to bring down and have you more power in the marketplace. So that was the only question that we got this week, and Jamie's here tonight. I left out Jamie in the beginning of it, but Jamie's here tonight. So go ahead and type your questions in, and he'll pass them on to us as we're going on. And so the introduction. This will be my first time giving an introduction. I can't think of anyone better to give it to than the woman that captured me away from the world, and I've been waking up happily 14 years of that, and can't wait for 14 plus more. So my wife, Kelly Norris, her maiden name was Ilya. She is from Northern California, a town called Santa Rosa. I like to tell people she's a California refugee.
Yeah.
And we met when I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. She comes from a great family, 2 phenomenal parents, 2 fantastic brothers who are all successful. Her sisters, stay-at-home mom too, living in Boise, Idaho, rocking it there. Our youngest brother is taking lead of the family business and just doing great and wonderful things there. And your other brother is actually up in Alaska, and he runs the
Simple Living Alaska. I'm sure. So many people have heard about it.
On YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was the largest YouTube channel out of Alaska. In Alaska, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're into the outdoor stuff, living off grid and all that stuff, he's definitely something to check out. And it's pretty wild to see the success he's had, and we couldn't be more proud of him. And so Kelly grew up a lot different than I did. She's my counterbalance in a lot of ways. Health, being stubborn, not being the smartest man, a lot like Forrest Gump at times. And just, overall, she completes the package, right? She supports my weaknesses, and hopefully I support hers, and together we make each other stronger. And it's not always been the easiest of roads. We've said before that marriage is a choice. It's a choice you make every day, and I'm thankful to God every day that she wakes up and continues making that choice to be with me, and I strive to earn that choice and hope that I'm a better man every day because of her and the things that I want to do for our family, and that kind of drives just about everything that we do. Since marrying me, one of the things she told me was, I'm not gonna have a job. I want kids, and I'm gonna stay at home. Like, she set the tone
right away, first date,
right out the gate. And a little apprehensive at first, but I was like, okay. And if I could go back to that guy that was then there, I'd be like, just shut up, stupid, and just go with it, because it's going to be fantastic. Because it is. And a lot of things that you think are just unaffordable and unattainable when one person's working, you don't realize all the things that you have to pay for when both of you are working. Like childcare, multiple cars, going out to eat because nobody wants to cook at home, paying for someone to do stuff at your house because you're too tired to do it. She handled all that stuff. She took care of all that. I packed the lunch every day. We were a one-car family for the longest time. I would either ride a bicycle to work or walk to work. We lived pretty close. And that's just kind of how we operated and did things until we could have multiple cars and do things a little bit different in that nature. And then, she followed me around the world. We lived all over. We lived all over Europe. We lived in Hawaii for a while. We met in Texas. Lived in Texas for a while. And during that time, she was distant from family. She didn't have that support structure. We were in remote assignments. She was awarded the Indo-Pacific Spouse of the Year by the Indo-Pacific Commander for her work and effort with families of service members in the Indo-Pacific Theater. And during that time, she really honed in on that skill of how to operate and live on a single family income. And she's just recently published a book on it with some of the things that she's learned and how she approaches things and the way that she does things. So if you want to take a quick second and tell them a quick splurb about your book.
It's called The One Income Home. And I did write it because every time I meet somebody that doesn't homeschool or isn't a stay-at-home mom, their very first thing that they say is, oh, I could never do that. It's too expensive. I don't have the time. And my first thought is, well, if you really look at your finances, if you can really go through them one by one and, pay attention that maybe you don't need a $7 coffee every single day. Or, for us, it was so important for me to be able to stay at home with our children. I wanted to be home with them. I never did think we would homeschool, though. I will admit that. We had our children in public school. We never really considered homeschooling. We knew people that did it, but honestly, like when I was growing up, if you homeschooled, you were weird. I mean, those kids were weird. And so we never thought about it. And then of course we were living in Germany and COVID hit, and then the regulations and the masking and all that, we were just like, we're not doing that, no way. And we pulled them out and we never looked back. And it was the best decision I think we ever made for our family. And I think our kids are really thriving. But anyways, so my book is just a bunch of tips and tricks, and it is faith-based, so it does give Bible quotes. There's a portion for journaling. It starts out with, your mindset of being a stay-at-home mom, and why for me, it's the greatest life, and I'm so blessed to have it. I appreciate it every single day. And so, yeah.
And it was fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of you for doing that. And I was the editor, so
yes.
it looks so pretty because can't leave that part out, right? But when I go out and I talk to people, and I mention that we homeschool, that generates a lot of questions when people are leaving. They don't always ask it when I'm up in front, but that's probably one of the most asked questions afterwards about it. Like, how do you find time to do it? How does she work it? Those things. And honestly, I give decent answers, but it would be better to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I can say it wasn't easy at first when you first started. So why don't you hit on a little bit about how difficult it was in the beginning and then what you did to...
For me, I am structured, very structured person. I do like order. And at the very first year we homeschooled, it was too structured. And it made it unfun for our kids. And I didn't want them to not enjoy it. It was super important for me to have them enjoy it and be happy and have fun. So about 6 months into our first year, I realized that I am making this completely unfun for our children, and it is too structured and we need to change it. And there really isn't a right or wrong way to homeschool. Everybody does it so differently. I have friends that their kids, their homeschooling is mostly working on farms, and they do supplemental reading and math for maybe an hour a day. I still do like the structure. I am more regimented, I guess you could say. And we do what's called Book Shark. Everything is laid out for me. It's laid out for the girls. But the best thing about it is it's for age ranges. And our 3 girls are super close in age. So I do, like this year we're doing a 12 to 14-year-old curriculum. So I do the same schooling for all the girls. And we really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Of course, we've made tons of mistakes in the past. But, you know, you learn and you go with it. And it's a 4-day a week too, which was important for us because we do like having the 5th day. Two of our daughters have little side jobs and little businesses.
I wanted to hit on that before you transitioned into it. One of the things that you did, you know, within homeschool, we learned that everything is an educational opportunity.
Yes.
Going to the store and purchasing something with cash and making sure you get the right change back. Interacting with business owners out in the community and discussing things that you want, showing discipline and not doing an impulse buy and thinking about it overnight, going out to farms and learning how a farm works and working with those people. I mean, our kids have butchered animals, they've collected crops, they've planted crops, they know the cycle of plants, they know the importance of animals and taking care of them the right way to yield those benefits. But what you were just about to hit on, was it 1 year, 2 years ago, you started having them volunteer with different places in town to get that business mindset and working with people and having those interactions just on a and giving something back to their community too, right? So what made you think of that?
Well, here...
Because I didn't think of it.
I'm so appreciative for the people in Batesville or in Arkansas in general because there's such good people here. Every day we drive by this doggy daycare and our oldest daughter just loves animals. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I'm just going to call her and see if she can volunteer there. And we did. And she's been doing it for 7 months now. And she absolutely loves it. And then our other daughter, she works at an antique store at the cash register. So she's meeting people all day long. She loves sales. She loves talking to people, and she's 12. So here we are given so many opportunities just to meet people in these communities. I kept thinking, I was like, man, if I was living in California and wanted my daughter to volunteer at a dog daycare, I would probably have to have signed a 10-page waiver, you know? But here, the people are just so smart. Like I'm taking my own risk. I know she can get bit by a dog or jumped on or whatever. So
it's part of life.
Yeah.
And she figures it out.
She does. Yeah. So anyways, I just thought it would be a really good idea. And our youngest, she has volunteered at our local museum here, just cleaning and organizing. And I just think it's a good idea for them to be out in the community and meeting different types of people and then also learning responsibility.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely important to give back. And that was, you know, when we were out in the military, it's expensive to come home to travel for vacations and stuff like that. So, you know, when you got a family of 5, that can be a few $1,000 tickets, especially if you're coming from Hawaii or overseas. And so we didn't spend a whole lot of time in Arkansas. I think we actually only came back maybe twice.
Yes.
And it was a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So Kelly didn't know Arkansas at all. And it was a leap of faith picking this area for our family to move to. But COVID definitely motivated that because we wanted our freedoms back. And we wanted to be in a faith-based area. And so we came back, but immediately we saw the fruits of that decision. It's like she said, Arkansas people are awesome. I mean, they're freaking salt of the earth. You know, sometimes it might take you 3 hours to get in and out of Walmart because, you know, you end up having conversations with, and that's okay. That's fantastic. You learn to slow down a little bit. You learn to appreciate things. You learn to take interest in people, and you get to know your neighbors, your community members, and you have a vested interest in them. And then that becomes a part of your extended family. And, you know, you want everyone to prosper and thrive, you know, and that's one of the motivating factors for me to be running for Secretary of State, because I selfishly, yes, I want to create more opportunities for my children. When they get older, I want them to stay closer to me, and I want them to be able to thrive in this state. But I also, you know, I don't want to see the poverty that I see across the state when I'm driving. I don't think it's necessary. And we're the wealthiest nation that history has ever known. We have so many resources and potential. Our state is centrally located in the United States. We have international access via the Mississippi River and navigable waterways. We have great rails. We have great interstates running all through our states. We have fantastic airports everywhere. And we have the resources to create that generational wealth. We just got to be creative about how we go about it. We got to be disciplined in our approach. We got to think outside the box a little bit and come up with some solutions that can free up those businesses, get government out of the way, and, you know, just let the people do what they do, and they'll surprise you if you just get out of their way a little bit, and provide, you know, from the Secretary of State standpoint, a customer service standpoint. We are there to provide you, my employer, a service. And we need to do that at the highest level possible. Whenever you come to us, you should expect short responses, short turnarounds on requests for your information. You should have the fastest amount of time that we can get you to get your businesses approved and provide you with any extra documentation that could get you support in that, right? Like any small business loans, any government grants you're available to, any state grants you're available to, any of that stuff. Maybe there's some private venture capitalists. If you want to go that route, we have a register of those. Maybe that could mirror up with you, right? Ultimately it's your decision, but we should give you the information so you can make an informed decision about what's best for you, and also help you plan that out. Well, okay, this is your business, but what's the end state for your business? Do you want to hand it off to your children? Do you want to just run it for a while, get it as successful as possible in the shortest amount of time and sell it? Or do you want to just keep it until it runs its life cycle and then be able to close it up and go away with it and just walk away from it? Each one of those has a different end state, and each one of those has a different path to get to that end state. And that's something that should be educated to business owners, because when you get in there and you take off and you don't have an end state in mind, well, what are you driving to? You need to have a destination in mind when you're going, and you need to be able to come up with a plan to get to that end state. And that's something else I think we could bring to the table too. And again, it's not selfishly, yes, I want my kids to have those opportunities, and I want their husbands to have those opportunities because I want them to stay here. But we also love our state, and we don't want to see, you know, the abject poverty that we see more often than not. We want to see that go away, and we want to see people be able to thrive and not just survive, and not worry about having to have insurance, and not worrying about if they're going to be able to make the bills this month and living paycheck to paycheck. Give you the opportunities to where you can be successful with one job, not three, you know, because we do see around our community, we see people that are working really hard. You know, one guy we know is doing 3 jobs, and he's very successful, but at what cost? He's got young kids. You know, how much time is he really getting to spend with his children? Because he's working 3 jobs just to ensure that they have the things that they need to survive. And build something for them so that they can have better opportunities than he had. We know him. Yeah. We know that that's what he's doing. He's not just wasting his money away. He's not doing crazy things. He's doing the right things. but it shouldn't take 3 jobs to do the right things. I mean, our grandparents didn't have to do that.
No.
Our parents didn't have to do that. You know, we benefited from that. So let's make sure that we get that back and provide those opportunities to have that generational wealth to help them next generation bridge that gap of affordability to thrive and have the American dream. And so moving on from that, what I'd like you to hit on now is, what was it like when we decided to start this endeavor from your perspective?
I don't know. You really want me to say what I really want? I knew he would want to do something like this eventually. I knew he was always into politics. I am the complete opposite. I want to make some sourdough bread and hang out with our chickens in the backyard. I was never really into, I always, it's really fake to me. It's really a world that I just didn't want any involvement in, to be honest. But I'm not gonna, it's his dream. It's something he has always wanted to do, and I know you will do so incredible at it. So,
but the reasons why I want to do it are the reasons why you don't like it.
Oh, I know.
Because I was just as fed up.
Yeah.
And we saw in the military with some of the jobs that I had, when it gets political, we saw that world. We experienced that world.
Yeah.
We know the traps of that world. We've had conversations about that.
Yes.
And we've had conversations about how to protect ourselves from that.
Yeah.
And I've had conversations with Jamie about safeguarding us from those traps. And that's very, very important for us because we've seen that before. And that's why I was so passionate about it, because I sacrificed for my country. I had an idea in my head about what our nation was, and I believed that for a very long time. And then all of a sudden that bubble popped and it's not what it was. And then you come to a realization, well, did I make all these sacrifices for nothing? Was it just a waste of time? Did my buddies die for nothing? Was it all for nothing? And hell no. And if it's to be, it's up to me type mentality. And so it is a passion of mine, and I hope it's a passion of mine towards the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be one of those guys that we've seen.
No.
I'm not interested in cocktail parties. We don't drink alcohol.
No.
In fact, we're in bed by 8, usually asleep by 8:30. We're early risers, very early risers.
Yes.
So that's just not in our wheelhouse. That's not something we want to do. And I don't want that stigma of our leaders of our country to still be a stigma by the time that my children come of age. I want us to be led by responsible people. I want us to be guided by the very best, morally driven, characterly sound people that we can find, so that we don't have the problems that we see today. We don't have those people that may or may not be compromised because of situations in which they've gotten themselves in and aren't able to make the decisions that they need to make for the constituents of their area. Instead they're beholden to someone else, or they have a different goal in mind that they want to achieve. I have no desires for that. You know
Yes,
that.
of course, I know.
I know that. We're not trying to go to
No.
DC. She'd divorce me if we went to DC.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but I would probably stay in Batesville, Arkansas.
Well, that's not going to happen. So that's not on our radar, and that's nothing. That's nothing neither of us want. But we can control what we can control, and this is a target of opportunity for us to raise the standard of living across this state and benefit our community that we've grown to love as much as possible. And so, I'm sorry I interrupted you a little bit too long there.
No, that was fine. I mean, yeah. So we talked about it, really discussed it. As a family, our kids were 100% in. They knew that our sacrifice for them would, he misses almost every single softball game, every single soccer practice. He's not there, but they knew that that was what was going to happen for a short period of time. So, we were all in, and
we're all in, and we made some decisions, and I haven't been the best on some of the decisions that we made. As I got to start turning my phone off at around 5:30 p.m.
That
every
was our
day.
kids' rule.
So if you start hitting me up after 5:30 and I'm slow to responding, I'm gonna have to get better at that. I mean, my kids call me out on it, and they're right to do so. My oldest one won't let it go at all. But you know, I gotta keep my word too. That's a deal we made. That was part of the bargain. So it's important. It's important to them, and I think it's probably important for me to also have that separation and disconnect too. So expect see less of me after 5:30 on most days.
Yeah.
Right. Unless I'm driving somewhere and I got it up and someone's driving me, then that rule doesn't apply if I'm not in the house. So that's coming, just so you know. But it was we weren't thinking a statewide race.
No.
I wasn't.
Oh my gosh, no. We're thinking local.
Mayor.
Just some local stuff.
Maybe
in
a rep.
our 11,000 one horse town. That's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
But sometimes
we don't get to pick the plan.
Yeah.
It's not our plans.
And it became very clear that wasn't in the cards. And the more that we tried to drive it that direction, the harder the pounding kind of came to us about it. And I think that's eventually why you went ahead and said, go for it.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty freaking obvious
Yeah.
that was the way that we were supposed to go. So sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith and trust. And I start every day out that way. I hope I'm doing the right thing. I think I am. I asked for that discernment. I've started doing a lot more of those protection things, like you guys have seen, reading Proverbs every day, and other things to try to make sure that I am doing the right thing as best as I can, and talking to people and getting counsel and trying to listen to them, even if I don't necessarily like the idea, the direction, or whatever. God puts certain people in front of you for counsel and guidance, and so you should listen to them if you feel that if those people were put in place for you to make those decisions. So I've tried to let go a little bit and let it drive naturally and not fight it so much, if that makes sense. And
letting go. Yeah.
Letting go.
You just gotta let go.
And having a pretty good time doing it.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, it's tiring. Last night I got home at 11. Around 11. So I woke up around 5:30. No, I slept in a little bit.
You slept till 6.
I slept till 6. That's sleeping in for us. 6, and then hit the ground working all day, and then here we are tonight. And tomorrow morning I'm leaving and going all the way to Fayetteville, and I'm going to be working in Fayetteville doing stuff. And then I got an engagement that evening, and I'll probably get home around 1-ish, at night, and then get up and start work again another day. But that's the season. That's what we talked about. It is what it is, and I owe it to you, and I owe it to myself to give everything I got for it. Because at the end of the day, when this is done, I'm going to be able to say, I want to be able to say I did everything I could to ensure success, and that's all I can control. And then I'll be happy with the outcome, which I think it's in the bag. I'm going to win it, but you never know. Still got a long ways to go. But so what's some of the drawbacks from it so far that you've seen? And if somebody wants to get into something like this, what would you recommend?
Well, from a wife's standpoint, I guess you just have to know. For me, the time away isn't that hard, only because he was in the military. So we dealt with time away a lot more than this. I just didn't want the kids to be, disappointed that you weren't at games and stuff like that. But I think we talked about that, and
they've gone with me a few times.
And they can go if it's like within an hour and they're not getting home at 1:00 in the morning, obviously, and that kind of thing. So,
that's been fun.
Yeah.
Bonding with them by ourselves on road trips, making the best. And my middle daughter is getting pretty famous with her scones. So she offered. She started making scones to sell throughout the neighborhood, and then she was like, "Hey, can I make them and you sell them at your events?" I was like, "Well, I don't think I can really sell them, but I could ask for some donations and take them." And the response has been pretty overwhelming throughout. We've started getting asked for the recipes from people, and I think those are catching on pretty big from all the feedback we've gotten. So when I come to your area, expect for me to have some scones with me, and be prepared to give a donation for them, because they're pretty fantastic. one of the biggest things from you since we've been married that was right off the bat was nutrition and health. Mm-hmm. When we met, one of the very first meals that she ever saw me eat was at my house, and I had Buffalo Ranch Doritos.
Yes.
A wrap.
With a tortilla.
It was a turkey pepper jack loaded on with jalapenos and about a gallon of mayonnaise and hot sauce in a wrap. And I made her one and handed it to her, and she was like, "This ain't gonna cut it, buddy."
The worst was you taking me to Whataburger.
Yeah.
Like 3 days after we met, and you're like, "This place is so great. You gotta try this hamburger." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the grossest." Sorry, Whataburger. But no, I ain't eating it. Sorry.
And I told her right off the bat, I was like, I'm a taste man. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't really care so much as long as it tastes good. And so she started getting creative and started making everything for me constantly. And one of the first, I had a very, very physical job. Mm-hmm. I was a master trainer at the combative training facility there at Fort Hood. So my job was to fight with soldiers basically all day, every day, either through jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, sparring, all that stuff. And she would come and sit and watch me sometimes, and we would be rolling around doing stuff for 6 to 8 hours a day and doing PT as a group before. So it was physically intense. And one of the things I noticed a few weeks after we got married and moved in together, and she started managing the meals, is my performance went up significantly. It went up to a point to where other people in the fight house were noticing it and talking about it. And that's when I started to become a little bit more of a believer. And I think I've been your test bunny on a whole bunch of different things across. And I mean, I don't care. I've got an open mind. I'll try anything. I've done the juicing stuff. We've done carnivore stuff. We've done intermittent fasting stuff. You know, she just tries out stuff on me all the time, and I'm just like Forrest Gump, right? I'm not a smart man. I just go with it a lot of the times. And there's some things that we liked, that I liked, and there's some things that I didn't like at all. Some things had different benefits than others that I wish I had the ability to keep up more with it, and that would be like the carnivore diet. It was the only diet, like I told Kel, the only way I could explain it to anyone is I felt almost superhuman in my physical strength. Like when I'd go up to do a pull-up, I felt like I could literally like collapse that bar on itself. It's kind of a weird feeling, but it's a hard diet. For me, it was. It's a hard diet.
For women,
to keep
I wouldn't recommend it all, but
it was a hard diet to keep up with constantly. So, you know, all the differences, seeing how you feel, learning it, and applying things. But now I think we're on a pretty good rhythm. When I don't break it when I'm out doing stuff. I will say, I am coming off of a shoulder surgery. June 3rd, I had it, and she came up with a regimen for me for post-surgery. For 73 days, I didn't eat anything, just bone broth, right? And coffee. I did have coffee in the mornings. And then after that, and during that time, you had me on perfect aminos,
the raw
milk, high protein meals. What's that other powder stuff in the morning?
Creatine.
Creatine powders. And a strict regimen of that. A lot of salt, a lot of natural Baja Gold salt.
Baja Gold, the best.
Consuming in, and I've had both soldiers done, and one with this regimen, one without this regimen, and the difference is night and day. I mean, I went swimming on Monday, and I swam for 20 minutes straight. I wasn't the fastest, and it wasn't the most comfortable, but there's no way I could have done that in that period of time after my first surgery. So proof's in the pudding. I definitely think there's something to the regimen she had me on, and I feel better on it quicker too, and the movement's coming back. So thanks for that. That was pretty phenomenal on it. But talk us through a little bit about what it is with you and the girls in homeschooling today. Like you said, you're very structured. We know that. Sometimes she won't sit down to just enjoy a little bit with me because she's got to vacuum the floor that's already been vacuumed that day, or she's got to clean some countertops that's probably been cleaned 5 times that day. But just kind of talk us through how you organize your day and do things to set yourself up for success and the kids up. Like, what does that look like?
So our girls there, for me personally, I'm up 5 a.m., 5:30, somewhere around there. We have coffee, and then we both do workouts. And then our girls, actually, they do workouts twice a week. They can pick. They can either do any type of weight training we have in here, the treadmill. Our oldest does these stretching videos. She likes to stretch twice a week. So they work out twice a week as well. They don't normally come downstairs until their bed is made, teeth are brushed, and they're ready for breakfast, because we start school at 8. And food-wise, I just don't do processed food. We eat real food. I grind my own wheat for bread. So we do a lot of, pancakes and muffins, whatever they want in the morning. But honestly, normally they have protein shakes. They really do. They do a raw milk protein shake. That is their favorite breakfast.
With your leftover coffee.
Yeah, sometimes they'll put a splash of coffee in there and they try to call it a frappuccino. So that's what they like to drink in the morning. And they put some collagen peptides in there and they're raring to go for the day. And so we start around 8. We always do math first because it's my middle child's least favorite subject. And to be perfectly honest, I want it over with. So we do math first. And then we step into our language arts, and it takes us about 4 solid hours for school.
Yeah.
And we do a majority of it outside. We love to be outside. So if the weather permits, we are sitting outside reading and doing our workbooks and our questionnaires and all that. So yeah, then what is really good though is almost every single day we do have lunch together. All of us as a family. So that's been really nice. It's
breakfast too when I eat breakfast.
Breakfast too, yeah. But it is really nice that we all have those meals together. And yeah, I mean that's...
When you said Kinley and math, like it brought flashbacks of Germany during COVID.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we were just trying to figure this stuff out, and she's very tough when it comes to some aspects of homework. If
it's not fun,
yeah.
she don't want to do it.
She's extremely athletic,
Yeah.
but if it's not fun, she doesn't want to do it. And she got fed up with it in Germany, and I was trying to remote work from the garage, and so she's like, "You've got to do it." And so, I don't deal with a whole lot of kids, so my approach was the direct military approach. And she just lost it. Gosh. She's extremely flexible. And so she just kind of collapsed on the garage floor and started flailing her legs. And they looked like limp noodles. And it was just so odd to me that it stuck with me for such the longest period of time.
Gosh.
And every time when she throws a fit, I just think of those legs flapping around like a wet noodle. She's dramatic a lot of times. But I will say that structure also builds in time for you to do all the things that the girls want to do too.
Yes.
So you get all the stuff done. And I'm structured too. I mean, everything that we've got going on, we're big checklist people.
Yep.
So I've got my normal job that I got to keep up with and do all that stuff. Then I got all the campaign events too. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm going after my master's right now and taking master's classes. I'm a member of the Kiwanis Club here in Batesville, and I'm the program chair this month. So I got to make sure that I hit every single one of those Fridays for this month and have my guests there. Chill out.
Go outside.
Now I left Bo out. This is Bo. He's not as big as he thinks he is, but he tries real hard. And so it's important to be organized and have the discipline to enact that plan and move through. And that's normal for us.
Yeah.
So when I come to the Secretary of State's office, I'm bringing that. Checklist galore. We're going to define success in end states, and we're going to drive everything to that point. And we're going to do that as a team. We're going to figure out where it is we want to go. We're going to start that direction. And not every plan is set in stone. You've got to do hot washes and reviews to make sure that the things you're doing are to get you to that successful end state. And it is still where you need to be, right? Because that might change. The environment may change. The conditions may change. You got to be able to adapt some too. But you have to always have an end state, and you have to have a plan to get that way, because a goal without a plan is simply a wish. So what are you doing to get to that end state? One, you've got to be organized, you've got to be structured, and you've got to have discipline to follow through with it. And I haven't just done that in my military life. I haven't just done that in my civilian career. We've done that as a family. My wife can tell you, before we go on trips or do anything,
Oh my gosh.
I have
We got a checklist.
I have a checklist. What are we bringing? Who's responsible for what? Who's packing their bag? There's only one person packing the vehicle, and that's me, to make sure that everything gets in there before we go. And the kids have gotten on board with that because we shared we'll print out the checklist and give it to them, and they'll make sure that we've got everything before we take off. And guess what we don't do? We don't leave stuff.
Yeah.
We don't start out on a destination that we want to go and have a good time and then get 2-3 hours down the road and realize we forgot something. We were really, really good about hotels doing a sweep before we left, but our last endeavor together, I failed. I didn't apply my lessons learned to our hotel stay, and we ended up about an hour and a half away from Fayetteville, and we had to turn all the way back to go and pick up my bag that I left in the hotel
With everything
room.
in it.
With everything. I didn't just. If you're gonna mess up right.
Yeah, you did.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, right? You just make course corrections and remember. And we're pretty big on that, and that's, we want this state to succeed.
Oh yeah.
Both of us do, because it's important for our kids, it's important for your kids, and we want to be able to go around and see a measurable improvement in everyone's lives based on our little small part that we're playing in it. We can't do everything. It's not going to be me at the end of the day. I'm just going to try to implement a vision. It's going to be you guys doing the work. Yeah. We just got to get out of your way and facilitate you and be the enabler that you need to be successful. It can't be me. I learned that very, very quickly in the military. When I first started getting rank and moving up, I thought the opposite of that. I thought I could make success. I thought it would be dependent upon me. And very quickly, I realized that's not the case at all. And I had to learn some hard lessons. I had to be humbled. I had to be humbled by my peers, my supervisors, and most importantly, and the hardest one was my subordinates, the ones that worked for me. But I was adult enough and man enough to take it and do some self-reflection and have those hard conversations with them and myself. Most importantly, make the improvements, make the changes that started to shape the environment. And Kel even saw that in the units that we were in. There was a dramatic difference between my guys and stuff. And there were some things that everybody has their things, right? And there were some things I was very hard on, and one was physical fitness. In fact, Kel would always bake goods and just come and drop them off for the soldiers to have whenever they would pass by and get them. And some of them thought it would be a good idea to try to convince me to go easier on them PT.
Yeah,
and,
I think so.
This poor kid thought that was a good idea. And she just looked at him and laughed. And she was like, what were you thinking in your mind to where this would be a good idea? What do you think I'm going to go tell him? He wakes up 2 hours before he starts doing PT with you guys, and he's doing PT on his own before he ever gets to you guys. Do you really think he's gonna try to take it easy on you? And I would try to explain to him, like, right now it may be difficult. Right now you may not enjoy it, but later down the road you'll see the fruits from the things that I'm giving you today, and you'll be so much farther ahead of your peer group that you're going to distinguish yourself and be in a better position to get promoted, have discipline, do the right things day in and day out to place you and your family in success. And sure enough, I mean, I still get soldiers emailing me and calling me today and just saying thanks, asking me for advice about things that's going on with them in their career in 10 points. And to me, that's how I measured how impactful and successful I was, is because I do get those conversations. I do get those phone calls, and I'm very grateful for that. And I wish them nothing but the success. And I was pleased to have a small part to play in their life. And at the end of the day, it was them. All I did was just kind of give an idea and show what it took. You got to do the work. You got to put it in. But I had to, and the verses was true too. If I wanted to be successful as a leader, I had to get out of your way. I had to let you do the things you needed to do to be successful and enable you and not restrict you, and realize that it's not me, because I can't do all those things. I might be proficient in all those jobs because I've done them before and I was really good at them, But if you constantly are doing the job for everyone else, they're not improving. They're not getting better. And one day you're going to be gone. And what are you left with? You're left with a group of people that can't operate without you, and that's not what you need. A good leader should, at any moment in time, be able to be plucked out of the way, and the machine keeps running the way that it's supposed to run because they set the conditions for that to happen. It should never be a single person dependent. And that's the way our house kind of runs too. Definitely not as much on my end because we got 3 girls, and Lord help us if it was up to me to do it every day. But I'd do my best. I'd follow her example because she's left a good one. But I think mostly our kids would be able to operate autonomously for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, right now they're being super respectful and holding up a sign for us to read of what they would like us to do. And I can't read it from here.
What does it say?
Can we watch a movie?
Can we watch a movie? No.
Thumbs down.
Well, we're coming up on about 50 minutes. I think that's probably a good time.
We've got one question.
Okay.
From Kimberly Leedy. You have told us that you discussed running for Secretary of State with your family. Can we hear what Kelly's thoughts are on how it has been so far and why she thinks you are the person we should vote for?
How it's been so far, like I said before, it is hard with the time away. But we know that this is something that he wants to do. We know he can change Arkansas. And so for us, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah. And of course, we know he's going to win. So.
What was it? What was the other part of that question? Was there another part?
And why she thinks you are the person we should vote for.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd say I'm really biased here, but I really believe, one, he's the most genuine person you'll ever meet. What you see is what you get, and he'll do literally, he will give you every single thing he can to make the state better. So,
thanks, man.
Yeah.
We've got one more from Shelley Moore. Why did you pick Secretary of State over another position?
I didn't really pick.
It was asked upon you numerous times.
There was a lot of people asking me, and they were explaining why I should go after it. And I agreed with them. They laid it out for me. They said, Bryan, you've kind of got a unique skill set of understanding government because you worked in government so long, and you have that discipline. You learn that discipline. You have a good work ethic, and you've got some common sense to you. And then you've also demonstrated to be successful on the civilian side. Very quickly, you've rose through the ranks at the business that you're at, and you've attained success there. And so you've learned how to navigate the business side, the civilian business side, fairly well. But you also know and respect the importance of people's votes. And, you generally want it to be secure, and you want it to be accurate, and you want it to be the will of the people be reflected in the outcome, come what may. Because it's their country. It's their state. It's their community. And they should have a say in how it's being run and operated. And it's not my job to impose my will upon them just because I'm a steward of a seat that they've gifted me the opportunity to hold for a short period of time. And so after listening to them lay it out and, taking it in, I agreed with them. The job of Secretary of State and the duties and responsibility of that state, I know that I have a skill set that is very applicable for that. I have a drive for success, equal success, spread out success. I'm not trying to be, we have enough.
Oh yeah.
And we're good. We're not trying to do anything else than what we are. We're in steady state operations. So this is an opportunity for us to help people get to that same position and foster that, craft that environment for them to have those opportunities to have that steady state and not be so dependent and so worried and, everything else that's going on. And so, I mean, it was
That's
just kind
true
of
freedom.
It's
That's
true
true freedom to live like that.
And so that's, after listening to them, listening to counsel and a little bit of prayer, a little bit of conversations, and honestly, a lot of blunt force trauma saying, well, this is the way you're going. You can hold on to something else to your own demise, but I'm going to get you there. And so here we are.
Yep.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
She tells me I ramble a little bit too much sometimes, which I do.
Sometimes.
Like Donald Trump, I weave. Sometimes my weaves are really are really wide. But in my head, it makes sense anyway. Any more? No? Well,
All right.
thank you so much. She wasn't thrilled about doing this, and I kind of won her over on it. But
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you are. I think it's important for,
Yeah.
because we can't be everywhere all the time, and this is a way that pretty much everybody that wants to can see us. I mean, you can't fake stuff like this for this
No.
long and just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm very appreciative of you spending some time with us and getting to know the audience out there and letting them see and letting them know that it's kind of a package deal.
Yeah.
And it was a package deal in the military.
Yes.
So, I mean, it was, wives play a huge part, especially in senior ranks when you move up, and sacrifices and things, and doing a lot of things that they don't want to do for the betterment of the regiment, for the betterment of the soldiers, for the betterment of the military community, and just kind of doing it with probably no accolades whatsoever, no real appreciation. I mean, we always
That's
say
okay.
we
They
always
say thank you. Yeah.
we always say it in the ceremonies and stuff like that, but it's usually 1,000 miles an hour, a break for a family day, and high five, thanks, and then you don't see us again for 45 days because we're out doing something else and running 1,000 miles an hour. And she can tell you, when I was in leadership positions, my day would start at around 4:30 every morning,
Yeah.
and I would come home 6. And when I was home, I was still doing stuff, getting ready for the next day. So we know what it's like. We know it's a package deal. We know what it's going to take to get success, and we have a drive to make sure that we do that. We think it's important, and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
No excuses. Let's get it done. Right?
Yep.
Love you.
We're all in. Love you too.
Man, she's good looking. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for this week's Ready Room. Remember to fill out some questions on the questionnaire. We'll have that link up so that you can grab that. And if you're able and you want to volunteer, sign up at the website that's on the screen. If you're able to make a financial contribution, this is 100% grassroots ran campaign, and she can tell you,
Yes.
we're being as good stewards of every dollar that we get. So what you entrust in us, we are trying to have the absolute most impact with every single dollar that we get. We're very conscious about that. And so please know that when you do that, we don't take it lightly, and we appreciate everything that you guys can do to support us. And we look forward to meeting you guys out there and getting to know everybody a little bit better and driving on until the end of this thing. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.